There is someone you used to talk to every day. You know exactly who. You thought of them before I finished the sentence. You didn't fight. Nothing happened. There was no moment where it ended. You just stopped. And here is the strange part. If someone asked you today what went wrong, you wouldn't have an answer. Because nothing went wrong. That's what makes it so hard to talk about. When a relationship ends, there is a word for it. A breakup. There is a conversation, usually a bad one. There is a before and an after. Your friends know. They check on you. When a friendship ends, there is none of that. Researchers have actually studied this difference. Romantic relationships almost always end with an explicit ending. Someone says the words. Friendships don't end. They just fade. There is no announcement. No last conversation. Nobody knows it happened, including, sometimes, the two people it happened to. So there's no funeral for it. No sympathy. No permission to be sad. You just notice, one day, that you haven't spoken in 8 months. And you feel something you don't have a name for. Here's what makes this worse. Most people think this is a personal failure. That they were bad at keeping in touch. That something is wrong with them specifically. The numbers say otherwise. Robin Dunbar, the anthropologist behind Dunbar's number, the idea that humans can maintain about 150 relationships, with an inner circle of around 5, has studied friendship for decades. His research found that in adulthood, we lose roughly 1 to 2 friends every single year. Not through arguments. Not through betrayal. Just through attrition. Through drift. A survey of 2,000 Americans found the same pattern. Nearly 7 in 10 said it gets harder to keep a wide circle of close friends as they age. On average, people reported losing touch with about 1 close friend a year, and roughly 9 friendships faded over the past decade. Younger adults lose more, not fewer. Gen Z reported around 10 faded friendships in 10 years. Baby boomers reported 8. So if you feel like your world has been getting quieter, you're right. It has. And it's happening to almost everyone, at almost exactly the same rate. The reasons are far more boring than we assume. When people were asked why their friendships faded, the top answer wasn't conflict. It was geography. Half of them said the friendship ended because someone moved. The second reason was life transitions: a new job, a marriage, a baby, a move, a divorce. Almost half. Then came the one that stings. 40% said one person just stopped reaching out. And 35% said both people did. Only a small fraction said it was about values, or a falling out, or anything resembling a reason. So the story we tell ourselves, that they got tired of us, that we weren't important enough, is almost never what happened. What actually happened is that one of you moved, and the other one got busy, and then a month passed, and then 3. Now here is the detail that changes everything. Researchers who study why adults stop maintaining friendships found a specific pattern. It shows up over and over. Both people are waiting. You are waiting for them to reach out, because you assume that if they cared, they would. And they are waiting for you, for exactly the same reason, telling themselves exactly the same story. 2 people, each convinced the other one lost interest. Both wrong. Read that again, because it is probably happening in your life right now, with someone specific. There's a second thing that keeps people stuck, and it's almost funny once you see it. The longer you wait, the harder it gets, not because the friendship weakened, but because reaching out starts to feel like it needs an explanation. If you text someone after a week, you say hey. If you text someone after a year, it feels like you owe them a paragraph. An apology. A reason. Something that accounts for the silence. So you don't send it. And another month goes by. And now you owe them an even bigger paragraph. Researchers describe this as the awkwardness of asymmetric investment. The barrier isn't the friendship. The barrier is the story you've built about how much explaining you have to do. You don't. Nobody has ever received a message from an old friend and thought, how dare they not write a formal apology? And then there's the excuse we all use. I'm too busy. Busyness is real. Adult scheduling is genuinely hard. The easy contact of your early 20s, where someone was always around, always free, gets replaced by calendars and coordination and 3-week lead times. But research on how people actually experience busyness suggests something uncomfortable. Most of us can find 10 minutes for the things we genuinely prioritize. 10 minutes. That's a message. That's a voice note. That's a phone call on a walk. The problem was never the time. The problem is that maintaining a friendship in adulthood is the first relationship in your life that requires deliberate effort. As a kid, friendship happened to you. You sat next to someone. You shared a lunch table. Nobody had to plan it. Nobody ever tells you that at some point, it stops happening by itself. There's one more thing worth saying, because it isn't all loss. Some friendships fade because you changed, and that isn't a failure. People grow at different speeds and in different directions. Someone who was exactly right for you at 22 might have very little in common with who you became at 30. Psychologists point out that narrowing your circle as you age is often a sign of development, not decline. Not every fading friendship is something to mourn. Some of them completed what they were for. The trick is being able to tell the difference between a friendship that finished and a friendship that just got neglected. One of those you can let go of. The other one is still sitting there, waiting. So here is the actual point of this video. Somewhere in your phone is a name you haven't opened in months. You thought of them at the start of this. You're thinking of them now. There is a very good chance they have thought about messaging you and decided it had been too long. There is a very good chance they think you stopped caring. You do not owe them an explanation. You do not need an occasion. You do not have to fix the whole thing in one message. You just have to break the tie. Because right now, you're both waiting, and waiting is the only thing that will actually end it. Send the message.